All right. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy to have you all here. This is a dedicated information session for the Brown in Bologna Study Abroad program. This is a semester and full year program that we're excited to share with you. This is a session that's hoping to, help folks who are prospective applicants for fall semester and beyond to learn all about the program, top to bottom, and then also, arm you hopefully with next steps for submitting an application. So again, very grateful to you all for joining us, and especially grateful to be joined here today by my colleague Anna Maria, who is joining us from on site. Anna Maria is the director of Brown and Bologna. So happy to have you with us here today, Anna Maria.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Chris, for organizing this meeting.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. So, before we get into the weeds, just a quick bit of housekeeping. So, I am recording this session, and I will be uploading this to our program website so that you can view it in real time. So, you're welcome to take notes if you'd like, but just know that this is going to be posted on our website as well, so you can view after the fact. But anyway, yes. So to introduce you to some key people here. So we've just met Anna Maria. Also on site is our program coordinator, Anna Giambastiani. Tuning in here from Providence is myself. So I'm Chris Van Boven. I'm the assistant director of global programs. I work with visiting students as sort of the dedicated advisor for visiting students. So for any non-Brown students, I'll be helping you through the application process all the way through your time in Bologna. And for any Brown students that are tuning in, I'm also available to you anytime to chat about the program. You can also chat with Lynn Kavicki, who is the study abroad advisor for all programs in Italy. So, just a kind of a high level overview here, just to kind of share a little bit about the program. So, just to start with the basics. So, you may or may not know that Italy is, for many years running, the number one study abroad destination in the world. So you've got a lot of U.S. students heading to Italy. But let me tell you, what it usually looks like is something like this. You've got, a group of American students who are all in a single academic building, a study abroad center. So all your peers are Americans there, and all of your classes are in English, right? And can you learn a bit of Italian on programs like that? Sure. Can you, interact with the city and kind of get to know some folks? Absolutely, sure. But it sort of pales in comparison to what you get on a program like the Brown and Bologna program, where we really are trying to turn this sort of American bubble paradigm on its head. If you were to distill the sort of spirit of the program into a single word, it's integration. Our goal here is to integrate all of our students as meaningfully as possible into the language, the culture, the academics, the sort of social community in Bologna as possible. And so this is we do this by way of a program that is designed to offer students a 360-degree linguistic and cultural immersion. And the academic foundation, of course, is partnership with a local university, where you are taking all of your classes in Italian, all taught by local Italian faculty. So you look around yourself in the classroom and you're surrounded by local Italian students. But what's really special about the program is that we're not throwing you into the lion's den alone. On the contrary, pairing with that, immersive context is wraparound 24-hour dedicated on-site support in the form of Anna Maria and Adam and others on site, to be able to guide you through that process and support you every step of the way. So that's a bit about the program from, again, the highest possible level. Just some other key notes here in terms of program dates and so forth. So for fall 2025, which is what we will begin accepting applications shortly, these are tentative dates. They'll be finalized soon. But again, for fall, the semester, it runs from September 1st through December 19th. We also offer the program as a full year program, which is absolutely wonderful for anybody who's interested in taking the language to, advanced proficiency, having that second semester to take advantage of after you've done all that initial work in the first semester, linguistically, socially. A lot of that magic really happens in that second semester. So if you can make a full year work, we fully welcome that and support it. And then also we offer a spring semester, which will begin January 15th and run through May 22nd. So what you can expect out of this session today, we'll talk through the location, the partner institutions that we work with that host our coursework, a bit on academics. We'll talk about the cultural activities and trips that typically form part of the program, housing, and then again, by that point, our hope is that you will be utterly smitten with the program and be ready to move on to the next step of submitting an application, and we'll talk you through exactly what that will look like in the timeline, et cetera. So let's start with the program location. This is one of my favorite things about the program, the fact that it is in, of all places, Bologna. So Bologna is the capital city of the region, Emilia-Romagna. And what's really wonderful about it is a couple of different things. So the first, I love its size, right? So it is a city of around 400,000 people. And what's perfect about that is it means that it's a city that is big enough to where you have an endless amount of things to do. You never find yourself bored in Bologna, particularly with, as you'll learn, the considerable university population. There are just, tons and tons of local students. Big enough to get to have so much fun, but small enough to where you can really feel like you get to know it after even a semester's time in Bologna. And when you compare that to a place like Florence or Rome, that are just a bit more sprawling, it can be kind of hard to sort of make yourself at home in these kinds of places. So again, in that spirit of integration, Bologna is just kind of an ideal setting. Relatedly is this idea too of just thinking about tourism. So Bologna, as I'm sure you'll shortly learn, is a fascinating and just has an enormously rich history and culture in its own right, but it just doesn't have quite the scale of particularly English speaking tourism as some of these other places like a Rome or a Venice, Florence, etc. So again, as a context for learning Italian, of integrating, of having folks to interact with it in Italian, you'd be hard pressed to find a better location. But you get to have your cake and eat it too, because as you can see here, you get to live in Bologna, hang your hat in Bologna, but you are within very easy, close access to all of these other major cities in terms of, you've got Florence, a little over half an hour away, Milan about an hour. Again, all of these within easy access. So again, kind of an ideal location for folks who are interested in learning Italian. And so with that, I'm going to transition things over to Anna Maria, who's going to chat a little bit more about the program in depth. Anna Maria.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So it's a pleasure to say something about Bologna because Bologna at the end is really what makes this program unique. Because as you most probably know, all the towns in Italy are different from each other. And what makes Bologna unique is the fact that apart from what Chris has already said, it is a town that identifies with history as being the first town in the Western world who founded the university. So the university was in a way created in Bologna. And this is extremely important because on a side, as soon as the students arrive in Bologna, they perfectly feel that they are at home because this is the place where students from not only all over Italy, but really from the Middle Ages, from all over the world, come to study. So it is not that they need to integrate into a world that doesn't, that exists apart from them. They are Bologna. And this is a unique characteristic that allows students really feeling at home and being very, very, very happy to be here. At the same time, Bologna is renowned all over the world for the food. So the Emilia-Romagna region is also known as the Food Valley. And there are many typical Italian products that come out from Bologna. For example, Bologna is renowned for tortellini, but also tagliatelle, lasagne, parmesan cheese, prosciutto, etc., etc. So a very high quality of very typical Italian products, deeply rooted into the tradition of this town. So Bologna is really committed to a very high quality food. And for this reason, this town is known, first of all, for the education as being La Dotta, the learned town, for the cuisine as being La Grassa, the fat town. And because of the color of the buildings, it's also known as La Rossa. La Rossa because, yes, it's a kind of a piece of the personality of Bologna. It is extremely welcoming, outgoing. The people living in Emilia-Romagna are really very open-minded people. And from this point of view, I think that they translated these characteristics in the color of the town. No? It is red, orange, and this makes Bologna really beautiful on a side. On the other side, Bologna is renowned and famous also for being a town with a very strong socialist and communist history. We are talking of an Italian communism, and that made a great result because after the Second World War, Bologna was administered for 20 years by a communist mayor, and it was the best city in town where one could live because of the high quality of life. So more or less, this is Bologna, medium size. All our students definitely fall in love with Bologna, also because Bologna is mainly a town of students and not of tourists. And we have 90,000 students. The majority of these students is Italian. So our students immediately find a huge community of people of their same age, and this makes their experience unique. Next. Okay, just a couple of words of the University of Bologna, because our program is in a way a kind of a bridge between our students and the University of Bologna. The core of their academic experience is done at the University of Bologna. The number of the students, I have already shared this information with you, 90,000, 32 academic departments, 243 degrees programs, again, founded in 1088. And this big, important history is at this point the identity of this town. So this town is made of young people that come here to study, to exchange ideas, but not from yesterday, but from 1,000 of years ago. So this really create a space of freedom, of very, very, very interesting. It is extremely interesting for our students to come here as being part of this environment. And then there are these notable alumni like Dante, Petrarch, Copernicus. Yes, the history of the University of Bologna is made also by these very, very, very famous nouns of alumni. Yes, the University of Bologna is made of 16 schools. So our students can come here and study whatever they want. Anthropology, psychology, literature, history, art history, mathematics, sociology, etc., etc., etc. Our students are allowed to take classes in all of the 16 schools of the University of Bologna, with the exception of the medical school and the law school, because these are graduate schools, but all the other schools are available to our students. For both the so-called laurea triennale, so the first 3 years of the universities, but also for the laurea magistrale. Therefore, our students can take classes also for the laurea magistrale. So there are no limits for our students to choose the topics and the courses that they prefer. Next. Yes, another feature of the program is that our students can take classes also at the Accademia di Belle Arti, the Fine Arts Academy, what we call the ABABO, the acronym. ABABO is in the same university area of the University of Bologna, of Unibo, but at the same time, these two words are completely different. So our students are allowed to take one class at ABABO, and this really allowed them to broaden their experience, their academic experience, because as you can imagine, the two institutions attracts very different kind of students. And I have to say that all the students that took classes at the Accademia di Belle Arti were really, really very, I don't know, very satisfied with their choices. Also because also in that case, they can do whatever they want. The offer is really very big. Painting, sculpture, photography, illustration. There are many possibilities. Next. Very quickly on the academic program. So if students decide to come to Bologna, on a side, the students will be taking classes at Unibo and Unibo Ababo in case the students would like. On the other side, the students will get some credits with all the activities done with the program. All these activities are part of a course that we call Pro-Seminar, that is divided into two parts. In the first part of the Pro-Seminar, we offer some Italian language and culture classes. So the students take 2 hours of Italian language and culture class each day for 3 weeks. But during this orientation period that take place the 3 weeks before the beginning of the academic year at the University of Bologna, of the semester, the program, we organize a lot of activities, quindi therefore guided tours to the most important museum here in Bologna, field trips in the most important towns in the region of Emilia-Romagna. After the orientation, the students will keep studying with the program. I personally will teach a class that meets once a week, 2 hours, on contemporary Italy, but in a way studied through the lens of Bologna. So we will discover in Bologna, and at the same time, Bologna will be our case study in order to better know Italian culture. Special feature of our program is the program that we call Language Partner, because each of our students is matched with an Italian student of the University of Bologna since day first of our semester. And this creates a shift that is unique because allows our students from day one to have a very special friend, an Italian special friend, that allows them to practice the language, first of all, and then to know the town, to get oriented since the first hours in the town, no? For example, for issues related to practical life. But these students with which they will be talking only in Italian will allow our students also to have a kind of an academic orientation. So we will give the students the academic orientation, but also the language partner, being a student of the University of Bologna, will allow our students to get oriented. So it will be extremely useful. And last but not least, this Italian student will introduce our students to her friends. So in a moment, in a very, very short moment, period of time, our students will be able to have a kind of a social life in Bologna. And I can tell you that this really makes a difference, particularly when you come in Italy only for 1 semester. The whole bunch of these activities related to the Pro-Seminar gives 8 ECTS. We use the ECTS system, that is the European Credit Transfer System, that is equal to 1 Brown course credit. During the semester, obviously, the students will be taking classes at the University of Bologna again, and they will be allowed to take classes only in Italian. The number of courses depends from 2 to 3. Again, students will be allowed to take only 1 course at the Fine Arts Academy. And the number of courses, it depends because each school gives a different number of credits for a semester-long course. So we use these numbers from 24 to 27 total ECTS are to be taken with courses taken or at Unibo at Ababo. And the equivalence of 24 to 27 ECTS is 3 Brown course credits. During the program, we will organize a lot of cultural activities. As I've already told you during the orientation, that is during the 3 weeks before the start of the courses at the university, we will organize day trips to Ravenna, Ferrara, Parma. That is the most important towns in the region Emilia-Romagna. We try to avoid the most touristic town because we know that our students go there. Our goal is to allow students to explore better the region Emilia-Romagna and to understand that Italy is thousands of Italy, and also within the same region, towns are completely different. This is a peculiarity of Italian culture. We also organize each semester a weekend trip, mainly to Tuscany. Last spring, we went to Piedmont, Turin, but usually we prefer to go to Tuscany because Tuscany is beautiful, and it's a pity not to deepen the knowledge of this wonderful region. And then we organize a night to the opera because opera was invented in Italy, so it is the perfect context to know or to go back to this wonderful way of culture. And then if there is a possibility, we bring our students to concerts, definitely to the cinema. They go at least once to the cinema during the language class, but also after the orientation period, we try to organize other evening to the cinema. And other things, we also organize cooking classes, voluntary activities. I mean, the offer is really very rich. Next. Okay, a few words about our office in Bologna. Since our students do take classes at the University of Bologna, and I really would like to underline this aspect of our program because we are the only program that really create this direct link between the students and the town and the academic life of the town. We do not want to create a kind of space where our students are in a way protected by the experience of Italian life, of Italian academic life. So for this reason, we need some spaces only during the orientation. And then our students do the life that Italian students do as students of the University of Bologna. But our students is really very nice. It is in the center of the university area. We have a couple of rooms that we use for our language classes. There is a small student office. There is a library that you can see. Obviously, we have Wi-Fi and computers and printer and scanner that also the students can use. Okay, housing. Housing is a very important aspect of the program in general of students that decide to go to study abroad. So we decided to place our students in residences that are not mainly used by international students. So the majority of the students that will be living with our students are Italian. And they are small residences, so not in one there are a maximum of 60 students, in the other a maximum of 30 students. So we made a choice, a very clear choice, because we think that our goal is to create the bigger number of opportunities for our students to have meaningful interactions with Italian, to know the language and the culture. Our students will be living mostly in single rooms, even if we also offer some doubles room. In shared kitchen, there will be some common spaces within the residences that, as you can see, are brand new. The residents offer also the weekly room cleaning, utilities, Wi-Fi, all is included.
I would just add one small detail, which is to say that on the question of single rooms and doubles, if that's something that is really important to you in terms of the single room piece, just to emphasize that that as a trend, we tend to have a bit more availability of single rooms in the fall than the spring. So just a small detail there.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, we can answer to the question after the
Yes,
presentation.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Okay, Internships, volunteering. We strongly recommend our students to do some, let's call them internships, even if the majority of these collaboration are not paid. So we do not give credits, academic credits, but at the same time, we strongly believe that these kind of experiences really reinforce and empower the cultural experience of living in Italy and in Bologna for a semester. So we are a lot of contacts with many realities on the ground, schools, museums, libraries, associations, etc., etc. And we are also very happy to build new relations, new collaborations on the basis also of the needs of the students. For example, as you can see on the right, these students collaborated with an agency for peace building that we discovered in the previous semester, thanks to a student who in Washington was having an experience with an ONG, an NGO, and he knew of the existence of this agency for peace building in Bologna. So once he came to Bologna, he asked me, I really would like to be in contact with this agency for peace building. We created the contact, and the experience was fantastic to the point that these other students that you can see in the picture continued the collaboration with the Agency for Peace Building and collaborated to an international conference that was organized by this Agency for Peace Building. So just to tell you that we already have many contacts, but we can create other contacts. We can develop other relations with organizations on the ground. For year students, there is the possibility to work as tutor at a local middle school from December to March. That's why it is also for year students. And this is the only internship that is paid. But apart from the economic aspect, the cultural aspect, the social aspect of this collaboration with Italians on many in many fields, it is extremely rewarding for the students. So I strongly recommend to the students that decide to come to Bologna to explore also these possibilities because they are really wonderful opportunities. Next.
Yes, and I think I can jump
Yes.
in here if that's all right, Anna Maria. So, again, our hope is that you'll be excited by what you've heard about the program here and interested in moving forward. And if that is the case, I just want to chat a little bit about basic eligibility requirements and the process of submitting an application. So the first is to say that in terms of eligibility, you just need to be in good academic standing. You need to have declared a concentration or a major by the start of your study abroad program. We just want to make sure that the folks that are coming on the program have a clear sort of pathway to graduation, and that's having a concentration declared is an important part of that. And perhaps most importantly, because it is an immersion program, everything delivered in Italian, we want to make sure that students have sufficient language preparation. And so the minimum level of preparation that we ask is that students have completed the third semester college level Italian or its equivalent, or be able to demonstrate the equivalent proficiency prior to participating in the program. So to make that really clear, if you are taking, let's say, third semester Italian in the semester immediately prior to going on the program, that is perfectly fine. Okay. So it is an online application. We've designed it to be as streamlined and straightforward and hopefully as painless as possible. We are eager to have as many folks as we can possibly have on these programs. So we've designed it to be, again, as I said, as straightforward as possible. For the fall 2025 and full academic year terms, these are the deadlines. So applications will be opening very soon. Our hope is that they'll be open no later than the early part of the week of December 16th. But check back on the website regularly. And then applications will be open through the early part of the spring. For first consideration on the program, we strongly recommend that all students submit their applications by our priority deadline, which is February 1st. But we will continue to accept applications through the final deadline, which is March 1st. And we do review applications on a rolling basis. For folks interested in the spring 2026 semester, applications will not open until likely early to mid-June typically, and they'll be due on August 15th. And I want to really signal that because that is an earlier deadline than most study abroad programs going in the spring, and that's the final deadline for Brown in Bologna, August 15th. Okay. So in terms of where to access the application, so if you're a Brown student tuning in, you'll do so directly from the portal, which is brown.viatrm.com. You'll be searching for this particular program name, Brown in Bologna. It'll have this title. So if you found this and you're a Brown student, you are in the right place. For visiting students, the way that you access, we have a separate application form for visiting students, and you'll actually access that directly from the Brown in Bologna website. And we've included this link here. And this will be available on our program website as well. We'll have clear instructions all over the place to guide you. But in essence, you'll, from this website, navigate to the Brown in Bologna application. It's a dedicated application page. You'll know you're in the right place if it looks like this. And it's as straightforward as that. It's a simple online application, background information, a study abroad application statement where you basically outline your interest in participating on the program. The only other thing we require of visiting students is that you submit a language recommendation, a language evaluation from a current or a recent Italian language faculty member. We also strongly encourage you to meet with an advisor. So if you're a Brown student, you can come and book an appointment with me. I'd be more than happy to chat with you about the details of the program. If you have specific sort of academic planning questions, then I would be directing you to my colleague Lynn and the study abroad advising team. She advises for all Brown approved study abroad programs in Italy, including Brown in Bologna, and she's your best resource if you're trying to sort of sort things out in terms of your concentration, your program of study, again, as a Brown student. If you're a visiting student, I'm going to be your main point of contact the whole way through. So if you have any questions at any point, you can just shoot me an email. I have a lot of availability for one-on-one appointments via Zoom. I'd be delighted to chat with you about the program and talk you through any questions that you might have. And the last thing I'll say before opening things up to an open-ended Q&A is just we urge you to, again, check back on our website regularly. We post updates there. The application, once the application portal is open, we'll signal that all over the place on the website there. We also encourage you to follow us on Instagram. Always posting fun things from on the ground there. It's a great way to kind of get a Technicolor sort of like lived, feel for the program. And that brings us to the end of the sort of formal part of the presentation. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And